Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another episode of NBA Past and Present, episode number 15 with Coach Jonathan Pixley. Coach, what's up? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here as always.
Yes, I've got one quick announcement before I forget, and I've got to get better at doing this. A lot of people who have watched this channel and specifically this show know that I'm YouTube primarily, but this show is now being pushed out because I'm fancy and technologically savvy. I'm using something called Anchor, so you're going to be able to listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google. So you can listen to NBA Past and Present episodes on all three platforms. I have put all 14 prior episodes out on those podcasts, so those are out there. If you're listening to this show on one of those platforms, please realize there's a smorgasbord, do you like that word, of content available primarily on YouTube because, Jonathan, as I discuss on this show sometimes, I screen share a lot. Most of my stuff needs to be seen and heard, not just heard. These are some of the few, this is some of the content that's on my channel that you can just listen and get everything you need to get out of it. Now, we do screen share sometimes here and there, but primarily it's just about us screaming at the screen. So
I know why you did it, and you haven't told your viewers or listeners why you sent us this direction, because you were tired of having a better looking guy than you on the show.
I'm sick and tired of it. I am. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm going to replace you with Sam Mitchell because I'm sick of having a smarter person who knows more about basketball too. Yeah. So I'm going to get Sam Mitchell on here. Eddie Johnson's going to join me.
Oh God, don't do that. It's funny though you say that because you say seen, not heard, and I know that I don't need to be seen, and I really don't need to be heard. But at least you're letting me be heard, so that's awesome.
Yeah. We've been seen and heard enough, and you especially in your coaching career, you've been seen and heard by enough people. You're probably ready to stop screaming and talking. And by the way, do you miss it at all?
No.
That's interesting. You know what? People ask me that. You know what people ask me that about? They ask me that about golf. Like I came to be a pretty good golfer. I was a 2 handicap and just self-taught and played, 100 holes a week and just.
You were always good at those random sports. Really good.
Ping pong, golf, tennis, whatever. And people are like, do you miss golf? Dude, don't you miss golf in your, in your 40s? No, I effing do not miss it. Number one, I'm too competitive. Number two, you can never beat the game. Number three, if you don't put in the reps, you get worse. And I cannot stand not getting better at something start to finish. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts. It's like lifting. Jonathan, you've always said, how can you enjoy playing something that you're not any good at? That's one of your famous camp quotes. You would always tell that to the kids, right? Nobody likes playing something that they suck at, which is why you quit playing me in NBA 2K and all the basketball video games because it got bad, it got lopsided, and you know what? I'm going to bow out.
Is that what happened?
No, I just make up stories.
Probably did. I mean, you were always a better video game player than me. I felt like I was in the discussion.
You were good. You were very good. You thought the game well, and it translated into the video games. We need to get back and start playing online. That would be fun to start doing.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
The games are nuts now. They're absolutely crazy. All right, today's episode is about we're going to talk about. I don't want to say the 5 best defensive players ever. I don't want to say the 5 best perimeter defenders ever. We're just going to say you're in the NBA. It's a hypothetical. You and me, we are 6'4", I'm 6'4", 195. You're 6'4", 211. 220.
Yeah.
I knew you were trying to lean
when
up.
I played, I was 211.
211. Okay. Let's say you're 6'4", 210. I'm 6'4". I was about 200 when I played. So you catch the ball on the wing. It's a clear out. We don't have to be in the NBA. Pick up basketball, let's say. Let's say pick up basketball because we played a hell of a lot of that, and my knees can prove it. And I know your knee can prove it. So we catch the ball on the wing, and it's one of those deals where you're just going at somebody. Who are the 5 human beings that have walked the face of the earth in their prime that you would least like to see defending you in that specific scenario? You're faced up. It's one-on-one. You've got to go get a bucket. Who are the 5 guys that you think could just swallow you up and eat you alive? The guys that you would least like to see across from you trying to put a hand on your hip and contain you.
It's the guys, and it's the oh shit guys, right? Pardon my language. It's the guys that you like when you get it, like for once in our lives, we're like, screw it, I'm just reversing the ball.
Sweep and swing guys. We should call these guys sweep and swing guys, where you catch it and you're like, let's move it. Keep the ball moving. Keep the ball moving.
For a ball screen. Begging.
Yeah. Oh, hey, it's good basketball. Just move the ball. Just move the ball like Draymond, right? These guys turned us into Draymond Green, where we're gonna dribble, hand off, and let somebody circle a self screen. That's what these guys are. Okay, so let's get going. I've always got, and then at the end, of course, we'll do some famous nicknames. I got 5 guys pulled up. I'm going to give you some nicknames, and you're going to try to guess who the guys are. If you haven't seen an episode in the past, go check them out. They're pretty funny. There's some really obscure nicknames out there for some of these people that we've never heard of, and it always makes us laugh. But first, let's talk about it. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 guys on my honorable mention. Do you have an honorable mention?
I actually just put one together. I have 3.
Okay, give me your 3, because I'm sure there's some overlap here. I don't know. This is a deal where let's lay this out there. There could be an oversight. We could forget somebody that belongs in honorable mention, Jonathan. I don't know how far back you went. I think my 2 oldest guys are from the early 80s. So I didn't go back to like anybody in the 70s. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm too young, but I don't remember people caring about or playing defense in the 70s or the 60s because the scores were in the billions.
Yeah, they really didn't in the 80s either, man. I'm going to tell you, everybody talks about how physical the game was. The only physical part about the game in the 80s was that they would knock you on your ass when you went to the goal.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be an intentional foul, right? Because there weren't such things. But, like, if you go back and watch, like, I use him as the example all the time. Dennis Johnson, when he played for the Celtics, and they'd be in the finals against the Lakers, dude, he'd be 15, 16 feet away from the goal and being gapped. Like, yeah. I'm like, they're not – I mean, yeah, you could hand check somebody, but I look at it like you probably have Michael Cooper on your list, for example, okay? I don't have Michael Cooper on my list, and here's why. Because he weighed 130 pounds. You know, like
Hold on. Let's not disparage Michael Cooper. I bet he was easily in his 160s. We're looking it up. I'm going to find it right now.
But here's the thing. Larry Bird said he was the toughest defender he ever played against. And guess what? Larry Bird's better than I was. So
oh, my God. 6'7", 170. Are you telling me that I was gonna have to back Michael Cooper down?
Yes.
As a 6'4", 195-pound point guard, am I gonna back Michael? If you give me 25 pounds on somebody, that's a problem, even if they're 6'7".
I'm not telling you that I'm ever scoring on him. I'm just telling you he doesn't scare me. That's all.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And so just spoiler alert, he's on my honorable mention. He wasn't considered for my top 5 because the top 5 people are people. And this is my criteria, and I've been here and done this because, we'll just go through our history. So you played mid-major Division I basketball and played against a bunch of high D1s. I played NAIA basketball, but I was pretty big for my position at 6'4", 200. I was a point guard. So oftentimes I would turn into Magic Johnson and just like dribble, spin move to get the ball up the court because – I found out real quick that college basketball has some people that are athletically superior to me. And I was a pretty athletic dude, but by NAIA standards, I was not super athletic. By Division I standards, you were very vertically athletic, but horizontally, I would say most of the people there were, I would say more horizontally athletic than you probably. For sure. Yeah. So we had to use brains and size and muscle and skill and shooting ability and all the stuff that goes with it. But we're talking about people where, and it's different for you because you were 220, but if I'm going to my right, which I only go to my right, this, and someone puts a hand and catches my hip, just a quick one, not a foul, not like a bear hug, but like a quick hand, I'm done. I can no longer go forward. Right. Yep. I'm going backwards. So those are the kind of people, Velcro type defenders.
Right.
All right. So give me your honorable mention.
Okay. So I've got 2 that are going to one that's going to shock you, I think. But anyhow, I actually have Kevin Durant on my list in honorable mention.
That's a good honorable mention, dude. That's a really good honorable mention.
Seriously underrated defender on the ball. And like if you watch him, his feet are incredible. And he's a goddamn octopus. Right.
Yeah.
So it's he would scare the crap out of me, not strength-wise, obviously, but just I would feel like he had limbs going everywhere, and I wouldn't do anything, right? And then he's quicker than me, so that's a problem, right? Another guy who was similar to him but not as gifted was Stacey Augmon, who
Shit. That's a great one, Jonathan.
Plastic Man, remember?
Yeah.
I remember watching them play when he was at UNLV, played against LSU, and they put him on Chris Jackson, now Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Yeah.
And look, CJ got his points, but he had to work his behind off for him because Augman was so long and his feet were so good. And the thing about those guys that gets lost in the fray because you just look at it and go, oh, they're really long and athletic. I remember watching – I've watched Durant a lot, actually, about this. But I remember watching Augman when he was with the Hawks. He was so technically sound, like no wasted movement defensively. He always challenged with the proper hand, all those things. And then the last guy on my list, and I've told you this story before, but I know our viewers haven't heard it, is I really struggled not having him on my top five, and you're probably going to go, what are you doing? And that's Gary Payton.
He's in my honorable mention.
Yeah, okay. So we're thinking the same thing here. So I played about 4 or 5 possessions against Gary Payton in the summer.
Oh, shit. Okay, talk us through this. Yeah, this is what it's about. All right, now we get some people listening. All right, now we got some listeners.
So he was, whenever I was out, the summer league my year before I got hurt was in Long Beach. And so that was, I'll never forget, I watched Kobe when he was 19. He gets like 30 on Gary Payton in a half, and they were going at it. Oh, it was awesome, right? Well, the next freaking night, Gary Payton's just running with a free agent team just to stay in shape, mess around, whatever. He's not even playing.
This is 1993?
No, dude, 97.
Oh, what am I saying? Yeah, 97. But Gary Payton was a rookie in 90, right?
Yeah. He just showed up. This was back in summer league.
He just show up to get runs?
Vets would get out there.
Oh, God.
Look, I'll never forget in that same summer league, probably in that same game, I think, I was chasing, what was the guy's name? Khalid Reeves, remember him?
Yeah, from Arizona. Yeah.
Okay. I was chasing him off a baseline screen, and Olden Polynice chunked me into the support with a shoulder screen, no call, and then looked at me, laughed at me with all 6 of his teeth. Yeah. It was pretty funny. But anyhow, so in this game, I get Gary Payton is guarding me for some ungodly reason. Okay? Like, why in the world he would do it? So the first couple possessions, dude, he backs off. He's just out there, right? And
that's the one thing you can't do with you. That's the one thing you can't do, right?
Yeah, I make my first 2 threes. I'm like, oh my God, I just scored on Gary Payton, even though he's not trying. I just scored. Right. The next 2 possessions, okay, I catch it on the wing. Ball screen's coming. Now, keep in mind, we've run the same play, and the only reason I didn't use the ball screen because he backed off, so I just shot it, right?
Yeah.
Now I got to get into the ball screen because he puts a forearm on me. Now, keep in mind, I outweigh him by 20 pounds because he's probably 190 at that
point. He's 6'4", 190, yeah.
He's 6'5" at that. I mean, he's long. Yeah,
okay.
All of it, okay?
Okay.
And he gets into me, and I try to sidestep him into the level of the ball screen. I couldn't move him. And I was like, I can't go anywhere. And so I literally just gave the ball up. Next play down, we run it again, okay? He rides me almost out of bounds. I was like, this dude's stronger than I am. Like, how in the world is that possible? I'm pretty strong dude at this point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I outweigh you by 20 pounds. His hips were so strong, okay? He got in a stance and just rode me off of the screen. And, of course, he's running his mouth to me after.
And hey, let's be fair. Are they going to call a foul on Gary Payton against Jonathan Pixley in Summer League? Probably not.
Or anywhere, no.
Or anywhere, right.
Yeah. But I just remember thinking, okay, like this is what playing against one of the greatest defenders of all time feels like. In a playoff situation probably because he was like, nope, you're never scoring again, like ever.
Well, you can say you gave him 6, though. You know,
I gave him 6, yeah.
Yeah, you gave him 6. That's the episode. Pixley gives Gary Payton 6. Pixley gives the glove 6. Right.
6. Yeah.
That's an awesome story. Olden Polynice was Bismack Biyombo before Bismack Biyombo. Fair?
Fair. Very fair.
Okay. Okay, so that's a pretty good honorable mention. Say them again. Say your 3 again. Gary Payton.
Yeah, Durant and Stacey Augmon.
Yeah, Durant I left off on my honorable mention, and I should have put him on there. Augman's a great get, right? Augman's a great one for sure. I used to love those Hawks teams. I don't know why, but on NBA Jam, I would like to play with the Hawks. I like Steve Smith because he played at his own pace. He never went quick, and he was, I don't know why. And I love listening to Steve Smith, by the way. Anytime he's on TV, he's
Why did
awesome.
that move work? Why did that move work all
The
the time?
Smitty?
Yeah.
I don't know. What were you concerned about? Him spinning and beating you to the rim? Ever? Never? Right? Yeah, it was always like 12 feet away from the goal when he did it. It worked. I don't know why it worked. I think maybe it only worked a couple times, but people kind of – it worked once really well, and then it became a move.
Yeah.
How cool would that be to have an NBA move or any basketball move named after you? The Sham God, the Smitty, the Rondo. That's pretty cool, yeah. Okay, my honorable mention's a little deeper. I do have Gary Payton on there. I have I'm gonna give you my hardest omission last. Okay. And remember, I struggle with length like you do, but I specifically would struggle with like strength and thickness and size, like just big tree trunk type people. And so for that reason, the biggest omission that I thought about putting in here, because all he cared about was defense, period, Tony Allen. Tony Allen was a good one. Wow. And he was kind of like a guy who wanted to fight everybody too. So he was pretty crazy. So Tony Allen, it was my biggest omission. Michael Cooper got on my honorable mention. I probably need to look some more. I just know what I heard other amazing players say, like almost in unison, consensus, he was the guy. Yeah. So maybe he was the only guy that played defense. Gary Payton, of course, is in here. Sidney Moncrief, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. I've got in here. He didn't make my top 5 because he wasn't big enough. He's big, but he wasn't. He wouldn't scare the shit out of me if I was faced up and matched up to where I'd just get rid of him.
That's my only thing. I'd never score on Sidney Moncrief. I admit that. I'm just
probably, yeah. Unless you back up. Then we can back up. We can always back up. That's always an option. We know that. And then Rodman did not make my top 5. And he didn't make – I know he's probably in yours. He didn't make mine because, again, he might arguably one of the 5 greatest defenders of all time. But in this situation – I just have 5 guys that would bother me more. I think that probably move better laterally. I think Rodman got so much of his defensive accolades from being able to guard everybody, especially guard bigs, guys much bigger than him, better team defender. Again, I would not love to see Rodman facing me if I was, ISO on the wing, but he just didn't sneak into my top 5. Giannis is on here for the same reason you put Durant. I put Giannis in my honorable mention. Because even if you get by him, I don't think you're really by him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I have Giannis for the same exact reason you have Durant. I have Giannis. Like everything you said applies, except he's even longer than Durant. And then, and this is a guy who might be in your top 5, Alvin Robertson.
I
didn't have it. I don't.
He's bigger. He's as big as us, but he wouldn't scare me. I literally put.
That's why if he was 6'7", he'd probably be in my top 5 because of the reputation, the strength. I know he's nasty as hell. He's the one guy nobody wanted to fight in the 80s, right? He was the guy that everybody's like, don't talk to him, don't ever speak to him, avoid him. He would worry me, especially in a pickup game with access to a gun in his glove compartment, maybe something like that. So Alvin Robertson. So that's my honorable mention. Tony Allen, Michael Cooper, Gary Payton, Sidney Moncrief, Rodman, Giannis, and Alvin Robertson.
I left one off that I meant to put on initially, and I know he's in your top 5, and you're gonna think I'm nuts for not having him. And it's strictly based on lateral movement for me. Okay. And that's Ron Artest. I didn't have him in my 5. And the reason why, Rodman and him would have flipped for you and me probably. Mm-hmm. I think you forget about Rodman back before he was this great rebounder, right?
Yeah.
He was an amazing lateral defender. Now, with Chicago, 100%, you're right. He was a post defender, but I'm just thinking in his prime defensively, he was that. Now, Artest would scare me just to be on the floor with, period, as a human being. But he would be honorable mention for me. So
or in a movie theater or a library, just really scare you everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, anywhere. Yeah, for sure.
Let me just okay. Well, let's get started. Give me your number 5, and then we'll get down to the brass thing. Give me your number 5. We're going in order from the last one that we name is going to be the one that we would least like to see.
This is probably going to surprise people because they don't think of him this way, especially. But when LeBron was with Miami, I watched him guard Derrick Rose in an Eastern Conference Finals and completely eliminate him in 2 fourth quarters of games. And when you go back and watch him play defense, because like you look at him now, when he went back to Cleveland and then since then, he's at best a roller coaster defender, right? Every once in a while,
Take some chances, right?
But I'm talking about with Miami, he was an absolute freak. Should have won Defensive Player of the year that freaking Roy Hibbert won it. And that LeBron would have scared the living crap out of me because
he checks every box physically. Physically, he checks every box. Lateral movement, strength, brain, length.
All of it. I'm just done. Like, go here, take it,
Yeah.
So Artest would scare me more that he might molest me or beat me up, but
there's been a long-standing rumor in the NBA that Artest was a cannibal. I don't know if it's true. Okay, I never verified it, but would you believe it if it was? It's possible.
It's not that I wouldn't be shocked; it's that I would believe it right out the gate. Yeah.
Right. I might have made that up.
Maybe.
All right, LeBron's your number 5. Well, look, I'm going superstar. Always think about offense first, but was an elite defender as well. And I think this guy's going to be in your top 5. I got Kobe. I've got Kobe as my 5th.
He's not my 5.
He's not your 5. He's not your honorable mention.
And he should be in my honorable mention.
I mean, elite young Kobe was a freaking pain in the ass. I've got Kobe on there. Because if it mattered, I disparage Kobe all the time, only in comparison to LeBron and Jordan and and Kareem. I think he's one of the 8 greatest players of all time, and I think not young, but prime Kobe when he was at his apex, strength, speed, lateral movement, crazy long as well. What was Kobe? 6'6"?
6'7".
6'7", let's say, probably a 6'11" reach, maybe 7-foot reach. Super crazy strong. I got Kobe as my number 5. Everybody always talks about his offense, but dude, he was an amazing two-way basketball player. And believe it or not, 3 of the guys on here are two-way guys that were absolutely elite offensively as well. It kind of gets swept under the rug how great they were on defense during their prime, especially since they kind of tailed off towards the end of their career. How many people on your list are still playing right now? Including honorable mention, Durant. And
2. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Durant, 3.
Okay. I have 2, I think, I guess, right? Yeah, 2. Okay, so that was our number 5. You had LeBron, I had Kobe. So talk about star power. We're starting our list with 2 of the best offensive players that ever lived, also being guys that we think would be the least defenders that we would least like to see on a basketball court guarding us. All right, number 4 for you.
Man, Kobe's a great one. I can't believe it. I didn't do enough. I didn't
either. I know. I didn't either.
All right. Number 4 for me was Rodman, and we've already talked about it. So he was very forgotten how he was back then, late 80s.
Yeah.
So you can move on.
So you were right. We did flip flop. So you have Rodman. I have Artest as my number 4. The reason I have Artest number 4 is all the reasons I stated. Right. Nobody wanted to take the ball away from you as much as him. It's all he cared about at one point in his career. He scored, and he did score pretty well actually in his Pacer days and in early Bulls days. But he's 6'7", 260, and Rodman's 6'7", 210. So that right there is for me. That's the difference. I look at Ron Artest's thighs and hips and chest and hands. Same length as everything about Artest. I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and slight Rodman because he's probably in my 6 or 7 range, but I got Artest number 4.
Again, Artest, I remember watching him, and he was super physical and he gave people problems, but like the guys that he really needed to give problems to, he didn't in my memory. Like Kobe, when he pissed Kobe off and told him you're not ready for me, Kobe went and scored like 6 trips in a row and got space. He could not guard Tracy McGrady. Like he had no prayer of guarding. Well, of course, nobody did, but and then there was, I remember specifically when he would play against Grant Hill before he got hurt, like it was torture. So, and I'm not saying that these other guys shut those dudes down. I just think they make it more difficult because laterally, again, he's 260, dude. But of course, LeBron is too. So, I mean, shit.
He's the heaviest guy on my list of all of them.
Yeah,
heaviest guy for sure. Okay, number 3.
Number 3 for me is probably going to shock you because you would think I've had him higher, but it's Scottie Pippen. And I have him there because
I guess we got to have the same top three, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
I have him there because while he was probably physically the most gifted of our top three from a defensive standpoint, I just think the other two dudes were nastier and just scarier. Just if it came down.
The other. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a carousel. We're just going to have the same three in different order. I've got Jordan number 3, and I'm sure we're going to jumble these up. You may have Jordan number 1. I'm not going to argue with you. My top 2 are going to be 1A and 1B, but I've got Jordan number 3. Again, another one of those guys where, if you're old like us, right? You know who he was and what he did. But the length for the next 2 is just the difference. It's just the difference in the strength for one of them, but the length for the other 2 that I have on the list is the difference, because those guys, I just remember playing NAIA, and when I would have a 6'7" guy guarding me, it was like a freaking nightmare. When they stretched their arms out, it looked like I could not possibly go anywhere towards the rim. I almost had to go horizontal. I used to hate that shit. Jordan's the shortest of the last 3, so I just put Jordan at 3. Again, if it was one stop to save the world, or to win $500 million, I would probably still put my money on Jordan, because he doesn't like to lose anything, and I'm always going to take that over everything. But guarding me, I got Jordan 3rd. As stupid as that sounds.
If you do it for the duration of a game, I actually am with you. I kind of geared it more towards
one.
I kind of geared it more towards one stop or
one hypothetical game winner.
Because the other thing, kind of like we were talking about Rodman, Jordan, out of the 3 guys that we're going to talk about, Jordan was unquestionably the most technically sound. He was perfect. His feet were amazing. And I for the viewers, okay, everybody talks about when Allen Iverson carry/crossed him over, right? When he did that, go back and watch the clip. Jordan gets right back into play.
He's not far off, right?
He challenges a shot.
It had to be perfect, and it had to be a carry, or he wasn't going to get it off, right?
Right, and that's one of the greatest offensive players ever. And it's one of the most seen things. But when you watch Jordan guard the wing when it's game on the line type stuff, dude, he just ended it for guys. Reggie Miller had to shove 2 hands off to get open at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So that's where that would have been my thing. And I'll go ahead and tell you, Jordan was my number 1 because of that.
Yeah. So that means, well, I have 1A, 1B, and I have Pippen and Kawhi.
I have Kawhi too. Yeah.
You have Kawhi too. So I have Pippen and Kawhi. Honest to God, I couldn't decide between the 2. I've long said that I think Pippen's the greatest perimeter defender of all time. We had the recency.
I agree. I think he's the greatest ever. I do.
Yeah.
But scaring me on the wing with the ball.
In your hypothetical, one stop, 10 to 10 at a pickup game, you're playing to 11. Yeah. And no, I get it. I mean, look, these 3, it's no coincidence that we have the exact same top 3. And as I always say, we never discuss these lists before we get on here. This is the first time we've talked about it. So in our honorable mention is even pretty similar, with a couple of omissions. But Pippen, Kawhi, and Jordan, let us know in the comments. Is there any way anybody could sneak into that 3 that belongs, that we've forgotten, that we didn't mention in honorable mention? I can see people arguing Peyton top 5. I can see people arguing Rodman top 5 and Artest top 5. Those are all arguable, but no one can argue that Pippen, Kawhi, and Jordan wouldn't be in the top 5. I don't think.
No, there are probably people who forgot that would say Jordan doesn't belong there that high, but I just don't remember. He was just look statistically at what he did in the late 80s, especially mid to late 80s. Dude, he was the first guy ever with 200 steals and 100 blocks ever. And then I think Olajuwon actually went 200 at some point. But the point is, he wrecked passing lanes. He wrecked on the ball. He help side. Maybe the greatest help side guard shot blocker ever. Right.
Ain't no question about it.
Dwayne Wade was great, but not like that.
Dude, he blocked over 1 shot a game 4 times.
Yeah.
He blocked 1.6 1 year.
Yeah.
He stole the ball. at a stupid rate. Career 2.3, man, and that's including his Wizards years. But he stole the ball over 3 times in one season in '87, won the steals title. Then won the steals title 2 more times at 2.8, and then stole it 2 more times at 2.9. So for about that first decade, he was averaging about 2.9 steals a game for a decade. Yeah. That is a staggering number, an astonishing number.
And guarding the ball, too. Now, here's the thing about Kawhi that I have heard numerous times by really good ball handling point guards. Like, I'm trying to remember who exactly it was. It might have been Steph, man. I can't remember who it was. But they would talk about how Kawhi in San Antonio, like, you would be afraid to put the ball on the ground once against him because he was just going to get it. His hands were so strong. He would just go, and his feet were so good. And then if you bumped him, he didn't move, So on the ball, I think the reason I think Pippen is the greatest defender overall is because, yes, he was phenomenal on the ball. Everybody remembers what he did to Magic in the finals. Magic still put up his numbers, by the way. But in the passing lanes and as a help defender, incredible. Incredible. So
stupid. They've got Kawhi listed 6'7", 225. I ain't buying that.
240.
240. 225 is ridiculous.
He weighs 5 pounds more than I do. Really? He weighs 5 pounds more than me. Okay.
Yeah, come on, man. Easy 240. He's 6'7".
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
225 is hilarious. I would have said an easy 240. I mean, you think Durant weighs 15 pounds more than Kawhi?
Exactly.
There's no way. Kawhi is I guess the greatest defender of the modern era. I mean, if we have him the second best perimeter defender of all time, or at least in the top 5, he's got to be one of the greatest defenders of the modern era for sure, from a perimeter perspective as well. So here's a couple of interesting thoughts, and then I'm going to give you a couple little trivia questions. So interesting thoughts on our lists. You have in your top 5 3 players who played on the same team.
Yeah.
Those Bulls teams, Jonathan, people talk about them all the time. You see the highlights and the passing and the triangle and the way the ball moves and Jordan's offensive excellence and Kukoc coming in and giving them a spark. Ron Harper wasn't a bad defender. And I know he was in his later years. Ron Harper was a freaking problem defender. Certainly a plus perimeter defender. So you're talking about 3 of the 5 greatest defenders of all time being on the court at the same time in a fourth quarter, in a half court, protecting a lead or trying to shut a team down. That is right there is why that team, I think, was off the charts special. The greatest offensive player that ever lived, and 3 of the arguably 5, 6, 7, 8 best perimeter defenders that ever walked the face of the earth on the same team. Imagine Luka being Kawhi on defense. That's what Jordan was. What Jordan was. It's unfathomable to think about how special he was on both ends. And you're right, footwork and technique wise, that often goes overlooked. He's so good. He's just so good at scoring the damn ball that it's often overlooked by the average observer. All the other things that he did that were superlative to everybody else.
Pretty sure he was like 10-time first team all defense, something like
9. You talking about Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan was 9.
But I think here's what, when everybody wants to compare eras and they want to compare the Warriors with Durant and what would happen to the 96 Bulls and all that. And it would be the greatest matchup ever, no question about it. But I think, to me, everybody says, well, it depends on the rules you play by. And if you want to play by the rules in the 90s, the Bulls win because Steph Curry can't breathe and Klay Thompson can't breathe. And Durant proved last year against Boston he struggled with super physicality, right? I mean, when I say struggled, he still put up numbers, but he wasn't as efficient. And then those guys were used to playing against that. So that wouldn't, I don't think that's an issue because you had 2 elite defenders on that team. I don't count Draymond as an elite on-ball defender. Plus, he's not going to guard Michael Jordan. They put Klay Thompson or Durant on him. But you put it in today's rules, okay? And everybody goes, oh, well, that's where the Warriors would win. And you may be right, okay? But my argument against it is this. You weren't – like those Bulls teams defensively, it wasn't all about the physicality. Their feet and their length and
of course not.
Right. All that. So
yeah, no doubt.
You know,
I hate it I just don't think you can. I don't think you can compare, because if Jordan had grown up shooting 3-pointers in the gym when he was a 4th grader playing AAU, 100 3-pointers a day, you can't tell me he wouldn't have been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. He would have been. I mean,
I don't think in today's era
it just didn't exist. Yeah, it's like saying
the floor is spaced, the middle is open.
Yeah.
Right? You can't touch him. He doesn't need to shoot threes.
It's just not fair. It's just so, God, the game is just so different. And I hate it that, in baseball is the same way with stolen bases. No one will ever catch Ricky Henderson because people don't steal bases.
Right.
And no one will ever catch Olajuwon because you can't block 3-pointers at the same rate that Olajuwon was blocking all the interior shots. It's just not fair. Like Giannis in the late 80s or 90s probably would have blocked 4 shots a game.
Right.
But now he can't, because everybody shoots threes.
Yep.
And it's a pick and roll. So let me give you some trivia. You ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Okay. How many point guards in history ever have won Defensive Player of the Year?
Do you count Marcus Smart as a point guard?
Yes.
Okay. 2. So him, Peyton. When did Defensive Player of the Year award come about?
1982 is where my list starts.
Moncrief was not a 2. Was not a point guard.
He's a shooting guard, yeah.
Alvin Robertson was not a point guard. Mo Cheeks never won it. Let me go through real quick. I think just 2, huh?
2.
Yeah, okay.
2. It became a big man's award around 2004, and then they ran off about 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart, who is he the worst? He's by far the worst Defensive Player of the Year of all time, right?
Yes.
He didn't deserve it.
I
still can't understand.
Yeah, at least whatever protected the rim, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't see Hibbert winning it. When did Hibbert win it?
He didn't win it. Who won it in 2012?
Tyson Chandler.
Okay, that's who it was.
On the Knicks.
That's who it was. Okay.
Yeah. Only 2 have ever won it. Even if you drop down to shooting guards. So just to put in perspective how it's become a big man award where they basically just find the big man that blocks the most shots or, has the most contests and all that crap. Marcus Smart won it in 2021-22 season last year as a point guard. Before that, the last non-power forward or center to win it was 2003, Ron Artest.
Wow.
20 years, Jonathan. It had been 20 years since a wing guard, I'm talking small forwards too. And Ron Artest, we said, was 6'7", 260. So if you don't consider him a guard, well, now you're going all the way back to 1995, Gary Payton.
And then before that, it was Alvin Robertson and Moncrief.
You got to go back to Jordan in 87, Cooper in 86. So for a while there, it was like shooting guards were winning it.
Yeah,
Moncrief, Mark Eaton, who I can't believe it didn't win it more than once. He won it once.
Right.
Moncrief, Alvin Robertson, Michael Cooper, Michael Jordan. So the era of the shooting guard, right? 5 out of 6 seasons, shooting guards won it. And then after that, it's over. It's bigs. I mean, Rodman, they list him as a small forward, but whatever. So Rodman got it twice. And then it went David Robinson, Hakeem, Mutombo, Mourning, Mutombo, Ben Wallace, Artest, 6'7", 260. Ben Wallace, but damn, Ben Wallace won it 4 times.
Dwight Howard won it 3 or 4 times, didn't he?
Dwight Howard won it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard won it twice in a row. Amazing. All right, are you ready for famous nicknames?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
Only trivia? That's it? I thought I had another one. No?
I can't think of another one.
Gotcha.
Joakim Noah won it 1 year.
I'm good.
Okay. What I'm trying to figure out is they've got Mutombo listed as the 2-time player of the year, and then they list their nationality. And when he won it in 1996, it says Zaire. And when he won it in 1997, it says Democratic Republic of the Congo. It was renamed. Okay, that was it. That would have been a great trivia. How did Dikembe Mutombo win it for 2 different countries?
Great.
Yeah, it was Zaire was renamed Democratic Republic of the Congo. Interesting. Maybe they renamed it because he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, technically, it wasn't 2 different countries. It's just renamed.
You're right. Same topographically, same country. Great trivia question. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Player number 1, the big burrito.
I mean, he's got to be Hispanic, and he's big. So,
And he eats burritos.
is it Marc Gasol?
Oh my God. You got it. You got it. That's insane. This needs to be clipped. This is one of the greatest highlights in the history of famous nicknames. That's ridiculous. I led you on, though, because he is big and he definitely likes to eat burritos.
Yes.
Other nicknames: Big Spain,
Yep.
Big Mark, and La Tanqueta, which I think means the tank, which is also apropos.
Big Mark is awful. That sounds like he would be Lenny in Animal Farm or whatever.
La Tanqueta.
Yeah.
All right, next. Okay.
All right. Yep.
You're gonna get it. I'm trying to decide which of these preposterously stupid nicknames you're gonna get. You've never heard of either, but you're gonna probably get it. Parisian Torpedo.
Tony Parker.
God, you're on fire. It's almost like this is scripted. You're on fire. Other nicknames: the Fiery Francophile.
That's
never.
scary.
Have you ever heard of a nickname that long? No, never, because no one ever called him that.
No.
Also, never heard Parisian Torpedo. Ever.
No.
Okay.
Never.
By process of deduction, you've just dominated me. I thought today was going to be hard. I'm going to have to step my game up. Number 3. This is a, if you get this, I'll be impressed, but this is a really great nickname if you think about it. His first nickname, The Great Adventure. If you get this.
Ron Artest.
No, but that's a pretty good guess. The Big Secret.
Olden Polonies.
No, his career was a secret. Pierre.
Oh, is it Gobert?
Nope. But that's a good guess. I led you off track. Last one. This is the last one I got.
All right.
Big Daddy Wookie.
See, like that, I would have guessed Marc Gasol for initially, but I'm not.
Also possible, yeah.
Yeah. Big Daddy Wookie. So really hairy guy. Chewbacca-ish. Man, that's tough. Eaton?
No. JaVale McGee.
Huh.
The Great Adventure.
Good.
The Big Secret. Pierre, which I don't have any idea. And then Big Daddy Wookie. I think I threw you off with Pierre.
Yeah, the big secret I didn't get. The first and the last one are good. I get it.
Yeah, The Great Adventure is funny as shit because you don't know. I mean, literally, some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen has happened when he touches it. By the way, did you know he was from Flint? You know, Flint's got a long-standing tradition of great guards. I didn't know JaVale McGee was from Flint, Michigan. And here's another thing. All the shit people give JaVale McGee, I just want to look something up real quick.
Dude, he's pretty productive, man.
Well, how much money do you think JaVale McGee's made in his career?
$100 million.
$70 million.
Wow.
People can make fun of him all you want. He's laughing to the bank. $70 freaking million.
You're lying.
Okay. Next. This is number 4.
Okay.
The Stuffer.
So it's a dunker. I feel like Wilt Chamberlain should be called, but I'm going to say he's not.
He had like 60 nicknames. You could have.
Yeah. Is it Daryl Dawkins?
No. Whiskers.
Whiskers. Elmore Smith.
No. Bill the Hill.
Well, it can't be Lambeer.
No, we've done Lambeer.
Oh, it's Bill Hanslick.
No.
No.
Why would Bill Hanslick be the Stuffer?
I don't know, but he's got a mustache. So
he did have a mustache. He did have a mustache. He still calls games for the Nuggets, right? I think.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. Willie?
This is tough, man.
You came out of the gates.
Oh, is it Cartwright?
No. That's a great guess. That's a really good guess. Although he never dunked a basketball.
Never.
I don't think.
Yeah.
And Russ. You got to put them together now.
Yeah, I'm thinking Russ. Dude, I don't know.
Bill
I mean,
Russell.
I'm not gonna say
as good as you were on those first two. You're gonna go to bed tonight with great regret. You're gonna regret that one.
That one I am for sure.
Yeah, you're gonna remember that one. The big burrito, the Franco foul, and the Parisian torpedo. You nailed it. I thought after. Yeah, I don't know. That's still hard. I've never heard of any of them. I mean, Russ. I guess I would have.
Yeah, but like when you say Parisian torpedo, it's like just put it together, right? There's one dude from Paris, basically, that's ever mattered. That was fast, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Are you ready? I got one more. Last one. This is number 5. This is kind of the linchpin. This is the pendulum. You know, we'll decide whether it was a winning day or a losing day because this is This is the rubber match. It's number 5, and you got 2 right. Gucci.
Oh, I should get this.
Why should you get this? Why should you get Gucci?
It's going to be a dude who dresses well before the games.
Maybe. I don't know.
Like who's like into that whole thing. Is it Russell Westbrook?
It's not.
Okay.
The grind father.
Dear God, that could be so many different things.
I know. Yeah. I'm not giving you easy stuff. The third one should be enough for you to hazard a guess.
The grind father.
Gucci and the grind father.
Okay, just give me the next one. I'll put them together.
Trick or treat Tony.
Oh, it's got to be Tony Allen.
Tony Allen.
Tony Allen.
We'll call it a wash. It's a push.
That's a push. Yeah, it's a push. Right out the gate's good, but then
it's still pretty good because Trick or Treat Tony. There's a lot of guys named Tony. It could have been any of them, but the Grindfather I thought was an interesting, cool nickname, right?
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a cool.
Yeah, good play on words.
Like that one. I'd like to be called that from now on. Actually,
you mean call you the Grindfather? I will.
Like to be called the Grindfather. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll remember that. Episode number 16 will be entitled "The Grindfather Returns."
I'm going to change it on my name too when I come back in.
The Grindfather. Yeah, I know how to change it. You mean, or do you change it or do I? You change it. Yeah, you change it. Okay. Grindfather. Now we know. Yeah. All right, that's it. That's episode number 15 of NBA Past and Present. Like I said, just to reiterate, thank you guys, all 20 of you who watch these. We're on Apple. There it is. There it is. Apple, Spotify, and Google now. If you want to listen on that podcast platform, primarily stick to YouTube. The pinkies are out. Most notoriously, the left pinky is out, and that means it's the end of the episode. As always, thank you guys for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby, and peace.